By day, Paul Mathews repairs photocopiers in downtown Chicago. At night, he becomes the Vice Admiral for the local chapter of the International Federation of Trekkers, a national organization for fans of the television show Star Trek. The club is devoted to promoting the philosophies its members believe are encoded within each episode.
As soon as you say Star Trek fan, everybody goes, oh yeah, live long and prosper, beam me up, Scotty. Where's your ears? Trekkies, they call us a lot of times. We prefer the term Trekker. Personally, I think Trekker sounds like you're doing something. A Trekkie just sounds a little less adventurous.
Mathews believes that Star Trek's characters and storylines have transformed his ordinary life into an extraordinary journey.
Seeing the hope that is possible, seeing the different aspects of a better future, no famine, no racism, you don't even need money. Everybody's just going out to seeing what they can do rather than just trying to survive.
No other television series in history has attracted such deeply devoted followers. Star Trek portrays a universe where aliens and humans work together on the bridges of the most advanced starships in the galaxy. Their mission, to boldly go where no one has gone before, in peaceful exploration. These fans know the minutiae of every event in the Star Trek fictional universe, and they regard its late creator, Gene Roddenberry, with an almost religious devotion. Roddenberry's widow, Majel, remembers what it was like to go to early fan conventions.
And these people were there, they would cry when Gene would get up on stage. You'd see tears in their eyes. There was such devotion, such love, such anticipation of what perhaps maybe they were hoping that he could bring them. And he was not, of course, the solution to the problem, but at least he made them think about it.
This alternative universe intrigued Paul Mathews the first time he turned in, back in 1967.
I was basically 10 years old. I've always been interested in rockets and stuff like that. They're actually going places and meeting people and seeing different things. 10-year-old kid, that's high adventure. That's, you know, terrific stuff.
Paul's passion for the show lasted into adulthood. He was at the front of the line at the box office when the first Star Trek movie opened in 1979. But his real life was far less exciting than the fantasy world of Star Trek. His marriage was troubled. He constantly fought with his wife over whether he was a good role model for their two daughters. She routinely accused him of being too passive. When he discovered the International Federation of Trekkers, Paul believed it would give him some direction in his life.
We do have some favors to ask. The first favor we ask.
He started attending bi-monthly meetings, then formed his own chapter. Within a year, most of his free time and weekends were spent planning Trek activities.
I'm a commander.
For a time, I committed a lot of what I was doing to the club and to the whole organization. My kids and the whole family was involved.
Through the Trekkers, Paul and his family raised money for medical research and sent food, clothing, and medical supplies to the victims of Hurricane Andrew in Florida in 1992.
When you start to incorporate some of the thoughts that are built on the show, it does tend to just alter the way you look at anything. The environment, I'd always been in favor of saving things and not letting them go extinct and not letting them be destroyed. I look at it a lot more now.
By 1995, Paul's wife thought his involvement was too deep. She told him she was withdrawing from the family's Trek activities.
She just did not have the interest that I did. She also stated that I don't want you to get out of it because I know how much you like it and how much it means to you. But I don't know, I no longer want to deal with it.
Great.
For Mathews, his involvement in the Trek community is the equivalent of a higher education.
How many people study Shakespeare? I mean, study it. Every word, every line, every connotation of what Shakespeare wrote. How many Star Trek fans cover every line, every connotation, that's put down on the show. Is there that big of a difference between great writing and great television, or great movies?
In 1996, Paul Mathews transformed the den and spare bedroom of his house into what he calls the Warp Core, a base of operations for his group. The walls are covered with publicity shots from every major Trek cast member since 1966. He believes the organization has helped him create a better, more moral life. Gene Roddenberry, the series' creator, is a constant inspiration.
If we run into some type of problem or something, well, how would Gene handle this? How do you think Gene would handle this? And a lot of it does come down to personal interpretation of what Gene might think. We can't ask him anymore. We'd love to, but what would Gene think?
By 1997, Paul's wife decided that she had had enough. She left him and took their 2 daughters with her.
She has decided that this is a big part of, I just cannot deal with the Star Trek aspect anymore. I put time aside for my family, but there's not as much of it with my family. So I do have more time to commit to this.
After 12 years of marriage, Paul admits that his devotion to Star Trek played a major role in the breakup. Ultimately, however, it would not keep him from his children. In June of 1998, he won custody of his 2 daughters. Paul says while his daughters don't share in his Trek interest, they encourage him to follow whatever makes him happy.
That's a dragon. I've built very strong relationships because of it. I've torn apart very important relationships because of it. Relationships that I thought were wonderful and good, I found out weren't.
What compels some individuals to completely transform their lifestyles based on the seemingly superficial philosophies of a television series? Psychiatrists argue that such changes often stem from the desire to escape an unfulfilled life.
One of the reasons that I think people wish to transform themselves in any way, shape, or form is they're dissatisfied with their current status, whether it's job, body build, profession, training. They want to do something different.
For many psychiatrists, it wasn't the desire for a transformation that they find potentially disturbing. It was Mathews' devotion to a fictional television world and its characters.
You don't have to have any social skills at all to find out something about them. You simply click the button of your television set and you're finding out things about these people. And that's perhaps why the socially inadequate and the socially isolated are going to develop over a period of time a very focused, intense relationship with people on television.
So then it becomes a matter of degree. And the degree, though, can be sufficiently strong to really make a mess of things. Sometimes people get divorced over it. Sometimes families split up because they're devoting all of their spare energy just to that objective.
If a person knew that much about Shakespeare, for example, we would call them a brilliant person, we'd call them an expert, and we'd probably call them professor. When someone knows that level of detail about Star Trek, we tend to call them nuts. I would say the rule of thumb would be, if you're naming your dogs Kirk and Spock, you're probably fine. If you're naming your kids Kirk and Spock, maybe you're not so fine.
Whatever the different reasons might be for why people seek to radically reinvent themselves through plastic surgery, a sex change operation, or devotion to a cult-like existence, all are seeking a change from the life they are living, an escape from the lot they've been given.
All I ever wanted was to be a girl. If that means sex reassignment surgery, then you need to do that. But some people